It's 4 in the morning and the house is silent. And then it starts. Constant thumping. A back leg going against the floorboards in the dark, and you're lying there listening to it, knowing he's been at it for 20 minutes already. You've spent 80 pounds on a tiny bottle of drops. You've done the pills and the injections that work beautifully for 3 weeks and then stop. And here you both are again. Here's what I want you to know before we start. The itching keeps coming back because you've been treating the wrong place. It usually doesn't start on the skin at all, and the thing that actually causes it is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood dog guy. Now, almost everything I'm about to give you is already in your house. Your kitchen cupboard and your fridge between them contain a better set of tools for an itchy dog than most of the shelf at the pet shop, and I'm going to take you through all of it in order. How to put the fire out tonight, how to make your dog a less appealing target for fleas and ticks, and then how to fix the thing underneath it all. So today, the immediate relief, the bug work, the long-term fix, and the correct way to do each. And the real cause goes last. Quick note before we carry on. This is one chapter of a much bigger conversation about what your dog is trying to tell you, and I've gathered all of it into a book called The Happy Dog Manual over at leodogsecrets.com. Go take a look if you want more happy years with your dog. That's all. Let's start with tonight, because before we fix anything properly, we have to give him some relief. When a dog is intensely itchy, his skin is genuinely inflamed. It's hot to the touch, and his own nails are opening up tiny tears in it every time he goes at it. That cycle has to stop before anything else happens. So if you look at him and see a bright red, angry, chewed circle, a hot spot, go and get coconut oil. Organic, cold-pressed, unrefined. It's full of lauric acid, which is a genuine, natural antibacterial and antifungal, and it does 3 things at once. It cools, it forms a physical barrier that keeps dirt out, and it goes after the surface bacteria causing the redness. The correct way. Take a small scoop of the solid oil on your fingers and massage it gently into the spot. Don't scrub it, don't work it in hard, just lay it on. And if he licks it straight back off, that's fine. It's nutritious and it won't do him any harm at all. Second, and this one is a proper clue rather than a treatment. Go and smell your dog's paws. If they smell like corn chips, and you'll know instantly it's unmistakable, that's not a standard allergy, that's yeast. It's called malassezia, and it thrives in exactly the warm, damp places a dog can't dry out, between the pads, in the folds, down inside the ear, and it itches maddeningly, which is why a dog with it will chew his own feet for an hour without stopping. Yeast cannot survive in an acidic environment, and that's what apple cider vinegar is for. The correct way. 50% apple cider vinegar, 50% warm water in a small bowl. Never neat. Dip a cotton pad and dab between his toes, or wipe the inside flap of the ear. If he's a serious paw chewer, put the same mix in a tub and stand his feet in it for a proper soak. Let it air dry rather than toweling it off. And here's the warning that matters. Do not use this if he's chewed himself raw, open, or bleeding. Vinegar is an acid, and on broken skin, it stings horribly. This is for intact, smelly, itchy skin only. Third, what if it isn't one spot? What if the whole dog is red and flaky and desperate after a summer of rolling in grass? Then it's an oatmeal bath, and you don't need a 30-pound bottle of anything. Go to the cupboard, get plain, unsweetened breakfast oats, and put a cup of them in a blender or food processor. Grind them to a fine powder. That's colloidal oatmeal, and it's the active ingredient in most of the expensive stuff. The correct way, and here's the critical part that people get wrong, the water must be lukewarm to cool. Never warm, never hot. Heat pulls blood to the surface and makes inflammation dramatically worse, so a hot bath undoes everything you're trying to do. Mix the powder in until the water goes milky, get him in, and use a jug to pour it over his whole body. 10 solid minutes. Time it. The oatmeal binds to the skin and forms a film that draws the heat and inflammation out of the tissue. Then pat him dry with a towel. Don't rub him, because rubbing an irritated dog is just scratching him with cotton. You should get a calm dog and a full night's sleep out of it. Fourth, and this is the one people skip because it sounds too simple, if he's licking out of habit or boredom rather than because a specific spot is bothering him, and a lot of the 3 a.m. licking is exactly that, Give him a large raw carrot straight out of the freezer. Chewing releases endorphins, which is one of the reasons dogs do so much of it, so it genuinely settles them. The correct way. It distracts his brain away from the itch, it satisfies the need to chew, it's cold on the gums, and he gets a decent dose of vitamin A out of it. Use it at the time of day he usually starts, rather than after he's already going, and take it off him once it's small enough to swallow whole. Right. The fire's out and he's stopped scratching for tonight. Now we make him a less appealing target for bugs. And the idea here is simple. Change how your dog smells and tastes to a parasite. First, the taste. Add a small splash of that same apple cider vinegar to his dinner, or a tiny pinch of pure turmeric mixed into a little coconut oil. Both slightly shift the acidity and the flavor profile of what a biting insect gets. Second, the smell. Fleas and ticks don't see well. They hunt by scent, keying off the carbon dioxide and lactic acid coming off the skin. Brewer's yeast is the classic answer to that. Half a teaspoon of the pure powder over his dinner, packed with B vitamins, and it works its way outward through the skin. A tiny pinch of dried culinary rosemary does something similar. And if he's already picked up fleas, there's raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds. Not the puree, the actual seeds. They contain an amino acid called cucurbitin, which is a traditional natural dewormer. Grind a spoonful in a coffee grinder and sprinkle the dust over his food. The correct way, and I'll be straight with you here, add all of that if you want to. None of it will do him any harm, and the B vitamins alone are worth having. But keep him on proper tick prevention alongside it, because ticks carry Lyme and a few other things you really don't want, and that's not a gamble worth taking on a kitchen ingredient. Then, treat the house as well as the dog. Most of a flea population is eggs and larvae in the carpet and his bedding, not adults on him, so wash the bedding hot and vacuum properly. Which brings me to the last one, and the reason I made you wait. If your dog is chronically itchy, year-round, and it comes back every single time you stop treating it, the skin is where you're seeing the problem, but it isn't where the problem is. Most itching doesn't start on the skin. It starts in the stomach. A great many commercial foods are built on cheap, heavy carbohydrates, corn, wheat, starchy potato, and in a dog's body, starch converts to sugar. And sugar is what feeds yeast. Feed a dog nothing but dry, starchy kibble, and the gut goes out of balance. The immune system ends up sitting in a permanent state of high alert, and it starts overreacting to completely ordinary things like grass pollen and dust mites. That overreaction is what you're seeing as red, itchy skin. So if you want to fix the itch rather than manage it, you fix the gut. The correct way. You need probiotics, actual live bacteria, going in daily. And the easiest way is a spoonful of plain, unsweetened milk kefir, plain yogurt, or a dollop of 100% pure tinned pumpkin puree over his food. That lays down a protective layer of good bacteria, calms the immune system, and cuts off the food supply to the yeast, making his feet smell like corn chips. And now the most important sentence in this entire video, so please don't skip it. Before you buy any yogurt or kefir for your dog, turn the pot over and read the ingredients. You are looking for one word, xylitol, sometimes relabeled as birch sugar. It's an artificial sweetener. It's in a lot of sugar-free and diet products, and even a very small amount will cause a dog's liver to fail. Plain, unsweetened, zero artificial sweeteners, and check the label every single time, because recipes change without anybody announcing it. And the last piece of the internal fix is how you build him skin a flea can't easily get through. Here's something worth holding on to. Every 21 days, your dog completely replaces the outer layer of his skin. Every 3 weeks, you get another go at building him a better one. But skin cells are made of fats, and if he's eating dry kibble out of a bag that's been open on the kitchen floor for a month, the useful fats in it have oxidized and gone. The correct way. Add omega-3s and collagen. The cheapest good source is a tin of sardines, packed in water with no added salt. One small sardine mashed into his food twice a week, and that's a serious dose. If he won't touch fish, a plain, unseasoned cooked egg does a job. Better still, make bone broth. A splash of unseasoned, collagen-rich broth over his kibble gives him the actual building blocks for hydrated, itch-free skin. One rule on that, and it's not optional. Never buy the pre-made human bone broth from the soup aisle. It's heavily seasoned with onion and garlic, and both are genuinely toxic to dogs. Boil plain chicken or beef bones in water in a slow cooker at home. Cheap, safe, and better than anything in a carton. So that's an enormous amount in one go. Coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, oatmeal, turmeric, brewer's yeast, pumpkin seeds, kefir, sardines. And if you're sitting there wondering how you're supposed to get all of that into one bowl every morning, don't. That's the golden rule. Put 7 rich new things into his dinner tonight, and I promise you'll have a very different problem tomorrow. Rotate instead. You don't eat the same food every day, and neither should he. So use the bowl formula. Pull out slightly less kibble to make room, and add 3 things. 1 skin builder, an egg today, sardines in a couple of days. 1 gut helper, a spoonful of yogurt or a dollop of pumpkin. And 1 for the bugs, a pinch of brewer's yeast or a splash of vinegar. That's it. 10 extra seconds a day, rotated through the week, and you rebuild the gut, soothe the skin, and stop treating the same flare over and over. And listen, if you're awake at 3 in the morning researching your dog's skin instead of rolling over and going back to sleep, he is already luckier than most dogs with this problem. So tell me in the comments what you're actually fighting. Is it the itching, is it fleas, or is it both? And tell me what you've already tried that didn't work, because that's usually the most useful thing in the whole comment section. I read every one, and they decide what I make next. Thank you for watching.